Here's YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Greetings. Hello. Welcome. Let's get going. Hey. All right, let's see. Don't know if I've tagged it. Probably not, because I don't have my phone, so. Yeah, not really. Oh, just, well, my latest experiment with generating things. I use the Will Stancil show as just a test case. See if I could do the voice. Stancil's voice. Do the animation style from the actual Will Stancil show. Sure enough.
So, gee, after last month's episode, I sure am kind of looking forward to getting raped again.
It worked great. Only thing I really notice is like that weird, see this weird, right there, like all this kind of speckly, noisy.
So, gee, after last month's episode, I sure am kind of looking forward to getting raped again.
It's a running joke with him. He's the most raped man on the internet, or something. I don't know. Remember Grok raped him? Yeah. Okay. Down we go, down we go. I gotta pull up my chat here on the bottom monitor. Most raped man in America. The world. Oop, there we go. All right, that is yesterday. Cool. FBI releases video images of masked individual as search for Nancy Guthrie continues. Yeah, I saw this. Weird stuff. Weird stuff, man.
Programs out there, AI-generated techniques that are available to the FBI and to other law enforcement, that they may be able to start getting more information about who this person.
So from what I understand, it wasn't. I don't know what he's going on about with AI generate. Sounds like a kind of tech hard, but they had to like do some deep data forensics, apparently trying to recover this material from the drives or something, which it kind of, I haven't looked into it yet, but I kind of wonder about like why were the files wiped to begin with? Why did they have to go through all the trouble to recover them?
Person is. They're going to be taking that picture and they're going to be putting it through every single configuration that they have of every database they have to see if there's anything more that they can get from this picture. They're also going to be looking at the clothing. They're going to be looking at everything associated with these pictures to see if there's anything more that can take them to the next lead. But I think this is a great job by the FBI and by law enforcement. They did not just move on from prior leads. They kept working it just like they do on these major investigations, and they were able to come up with this evidence.
And Aaron, they're not calling this person a suspect, but the FBI director does say this person was armed.
Yeah, you can see a gun right there hanging on the right over the groin. Odd place.
And I don't see a specific weapon just looking in the small version of these images.
Well,
Diane,
I guess homeboy is blind.
That's what the FBI director says. And in looking just at the mask and the gloves and the backpack, and
I mean, it's right freaking there. Hello, dude.
My God, you think how terrified Nancy Guthrie may have been, assuming she confronted.
appears to be holding a flashlight in the mouth here or something.
This individual in her home at about 2 o'clock in the morning after a game night and dinner with her family at her daughter Annie's house nearby. We know that the
Seems to have a mustache. And I don't know what's going on with those eyes, but looks like some kind of makeup or something. It like something on the eyes. Could just be the way the camera captures contrast. But it looks
FBI
weird. It looks weird.
has also been scrutinizing
And actually, yeah, it does kind of look like a woman. That was my first reaction to Steph. I thought it was a woman. The mustache throws me off because that was exactly what I thought. Is the mustache even real? It may not be. I don't know.
other cameras here at the house. We
The eyes look female. Weird. That is definitely a mustache. Or, a fake, at the very least, a fake mustache.
Thing associated.
But I'm telling you, man, it looks. That face, there's something about those eyes that just look. Scream woman to me. It's really weird. Glad I'm not alone in that. I was not going to mention it, but now that other people. Okay, yeah, same thought. Now that shot there, I don't know. That kind of like a male build. Back to that. Of course, really hard to say. I don't know, man. Indeed, never trust a woman with a mustache. Yeah, I agree. Trump to exclude Democrat governors from usually bipartisan meeting at the White House. Oh well. Apple News promotes left-leaning media outlets as it shuts out conservative sites entirely. What is this? Like new? Did they change the way they're doing things or what? Okay, has been aggressively promoting articles from left-leaning news outlets, even as it has all shut down posts from more conservative publications, according to an explosive study. Surprise, surprise. Wow. Yep. Bad news. Literally. Vance and family arriving in Azerbaijan after their visit to Armenia. Taking hand. All right. We run out of stuff. We'll come back to that. James Comer and Rip. John James are investigating how 200 plus non-citizens ended up in Michigan jury pools, and some even registered to vote. Of course they did. Yeah, she's cute. Federal judge in Michigan has rejected the administration's attempt to obtain the state's voter rolls. Surprise, surprise. Judge Hila Jarbu a Trump appointee, said the law does not require the state to turn them over. Right. Okay, happening today, leaders of 3 major immigration agencies set to testify on Capitol Hill as Democrats push new demands ahead of funding deadline.
It's going to be a big deal on Capitol Hill because you've got the first time these leaders from the Trump administration heading up this immigration crackdown, facing lawmakers on the Hill, and we're expecting fireworks. So take a look. These are the 3 people we can expect today to testify: ICE Director Todd Lyons, CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott, and Joseph Edlow, the Director of Immigration. And they'll be questioned by Democrats like Eric Swalwell and Dan Goldman, 2 congressmen who want to strip qualified immunity from ICE, also Congressman Tanadar, who wants to abolish ICE altogether. Meanwhile, we are heading for another partial government shutdown as the 2 parties are still fighting over
Yes. Free Tardonar,
DHS reform.
our favorite guy.
Democrats still want those body cameras. They want masks to come off, and they want judicial warrants in their list of 10 demands. Schumer and Jeffries, the 2 Democratic leaders in the House and Senate, put out this statement. Republicans shared an outline of a counter proposal, which included neither details nor legislative text. The initial GOP response is both incomplete and insufficient in terms of addressing the concerns Americans have about ICE's lawless conduct. Democrats await additional detail and text. Republicans say Democrats' demands are unserious.
If Democrats are serious about finding a solution here, they may need to find more time to bring these efforts to a productive conclusion.
So the funding deadline is this Friday. That was a Democrat demand. They didn't want to fund TSA. They didn't want to fund Secret Service. They don't want to fund FEMA. They don't want to fund any of those if they can also cut off funding to ICE.
Now, President Trump is clocking 2 court wins out in California. An appeals court temporarily lifting a block on ending deportation protections for migrants from Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua. Also, another win, a federal judge blocking California from enforcing ICE masks, the ban. AG Bondi, Pam Bondi, tweeting this: as the court found, the government is likely to prevail in its argument that ending temporary protected status for some immigrants is sound and lawful policy. We do not expect to see the president today. He's got some meetings that are closed door, but we do have a White House briefing on tap for 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, what was that about Swalwell and Schiff?
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that's in here is Eric Swalwell. Now, that is secondhand information from the whistleblower, but the whistleblower actually attended a meeting with Adam Schiff when he was ranking member. Yeah.
I stand corrected. It was. They both hate Trump, so I kind of mix them up.
Yeah, they all merge together these days. Listen, this whistleblower literally sat in a meeting, he tells the FBI, where Adam Schiff authorized the leaking of classified secrets to dirty up Donald Trump and to try to build towards either a select committee in Congress or a special prosecutor.
Of course. Mention when this was. Oh well. Susan Collins is all in for 2026. She's yet again gonna run. Oh joy. Ex-police chief says Trump told him, quote, "Thank goodness you're stopping Epstein," back in the 2000s. At least some of the contents too was him. I think actually some of the contents of the him reporting Epstein to the authorities that may have made its way into the most recent one. Yeah, okay, here we go. Former Palm Beach, Florida police chief who investigated Epstein in the mid-2000s told the FBI he'd received a call from Donald Trump at the time to say, "Thank goodness you're stopping him." Everyone has known he's been doing this. Yep, Trump has said repeatedly that he booted Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after discovering that he was poaching employees at a bare minimum. I think there's been hints that it was worse than that. Like poaching them to go be massage sluts, basically. The police chief's name, Michael Rader, is redacted from the documents on the DOJ's website, but the info in the FBI statement tracks with previous public info about his role in the investigation. Okay, Trump told Ryder that he threw Epstein out of his club in this call. Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to tell him, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this. The alleged call from Trump came in July 2006, around the time the details of the police investigation became public. Trump told him people in New York knew Epstein was disgusting. Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative, quote, she is evil, and to focus on her. Interesting. Wow. Trump told Ryder that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present and got the hell out of there. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein. Interesting. Okay. I think this is just the same stuff we were talking about there. Yep. U.S. officials told BBC Verify a draft press release announcing Jeffrey Epstein's death was mistakenly dated the day before he died. Oops. It could happen to anyone, you know. James Comer says the House Ethics Committee will take over the investigation into Rep. Ilhan Omar.
We've been informed in the last few hours that the Ethics Committee is probably going to have to be the committee that takes that investigation up. I'm disappointed to learn that. We thought that the Oversight Committee could do that. So we're going to be writing a letter in the morning referring this to the Ethics Committee. And it's basically, it's a simple investigation, Sean. There are two companies listed on Omar's husband's financial disclosure form. Both were worth, one was worth between $1,000 and $5,000, and then the very next year it was worth between $1 and $5 million. Another one was worth, I think, $25,000, and the next year was worth between $5 and $30 million, based on the ranges on the financial disclosure form. Either way, those are significant increases in value. And you know, we just have questions that any American would have. What type of businesses are these? That we know that the Department of Justice in the Biden administration was investigating Omar's husband for reports of fraud. We know there's a winery in question that has a big value.
That seems to basically not exist, except for on paper.
Value on there that some believe isn't worth anything. So there are a lot of questions. This investigation shouldn't take long. She should just willingly come in, she and her husband, and answer these questions. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. But thus far, over the last 2 weeks, it's been crickets from Omar.
Meeting took place at a restaurant in Minneapolis where Somali immigrants declared that a part of Minnesota has been claimed for the government of Somalia. Huh?
Welcome to Galmudug, state of Somalia.
Galmudug?
This guy seems to believe that the Somalian government claimed some land in Minnesota and it's theirs to govern now. This meeting's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Safari restaurant, which is associated with the Feeding Our Future scam.
The restaurant claimed to serve more than 3.9 million meals to children in a 19-month span, even using Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in a promotional video in an alleged attempt to show legitimacy.
Farhia Khalif Mahmoud. Farhia is my leader. We'll lead this country together. When I say now, she became state representative Galmudug.
I want you to understand what this guy's saying. He's saying that Farhia Khalif is his leader. He is a member of the Galmudug state, not a U.S. citizen. He's a Galmudug state citizen in Minneapolis.
What the
Farhia Khalif is his government leader. This is the definition of an insurrection. She was appointed as the governor of the Galmudug state of North America, and this is the celebration that they had, and everybody was like, yeah, Somalia.
Welcome to Galmudug, state of Somalia. We all together on this one. We've been living here for long. We're gonna lead this country together. When I say together means me and you and us, inshallah. So Farhia Khalif Mahmoud is one of the leaders in this state, all the way Virginia Beach, individually solo, and now she became state.
What is he even saying? Like, what the fuck is this? I heard something Virginia bitch.
So Farhia Khalif Mahmoud.
Khalif Mahmoud
is one of the leaders in this state, all the way Virginia Beach.
All the way Virginia bitch. I have no idea.
Individually solo, and now she became state representative Galmudug for USA. She is my leader. When I say that, I know who she is. I know where she started from. I know where she's going with this.
Oh, Virginia Beach. All the way Virginia Beach. Good God.
Welcome.
This one needs to be at the front of the line to the gigantic catapult that we're going to build to fling these people back over the ocean to Africa. We're doing it. Fuck that shit, man. This is disgusting. This one's got to go. Boing. Minneapolis woman who went viral for berating yoga studio employees over ICE says she's now banned. Oh, you got banned. Yeah, that's psychotic ordeal. These wine moms in the yoga studio. 22-year-old daughter of Republican Minnesota governor's candidate Jeff Johnson stabbed to death. What? What happened? Oh, man. A botched murder-suicide. Oh. Wow. So, the guy, the husband, who apparently did this, killed her, but couldn't finish the job on himself, apparently. Was found with self-inflicted stab wounds. Mike Johnson says the House will vote on the SAVE Act on Wednesday, tomorrow.
It's just common sense. Americans need an ID to drive, to open a bank account, to buy cold medicine, to file government assistance. As is noted by the leader, you even need an ID to attend events of most Democrat politicians and even the Democrat National Convention. So, why would voting be any different than that? They can't answer that question. And so they come up with all these crazy excuses of why they can't support it. They've attempted so many arguments to oppose the passage of this simple legislation. First, they support.
Murkowski says she will not support the SAVE Act. Look at this. Blows my mind. They keep getting in over and over. People keep voting for them. U.S. House on the verge of passing the SAVE Act, fast tracking it to the Senate. See?
Doing that. In fact, the big majority of them given enormous difficulty.
Soon indicating there may not be enough time to implement a standing filibuster in order to pass voter ID and citizenship requirements for.
In fact, the big majority have not been able to.
Right. Well, you know, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions, there are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously.
Do you really think they're not aware of the implications?
Ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time.
Kind of their job. Durbin says he opposes the SAVE Act. Surprise, surprise.
Not at all. It's a terrible idea. This notion that we want to put more obstacles in the paths of voters is just what Donald Trump wants, fewer people voting. I want every legal citizen in America to be able to vote without obstacles.
Do you think requiring an ID to vote in elections is making it harder? I mean,
it's more than that. It's more than an ID. It's proof that you were born in America. So what are we talking about, a passport or a birth certificate? Got one of those handy with you in your purse? I doubt it.
Well, if you're going to the voting poll and you know what you need to bring, I mean, it's just one of those documents, right?
Well, just one of those documents. Think about securing your birth certificate before you go in to vote. You know, why are we creating these obstacles? We have the lowest incidence of fraud and misuse of voting in the world, and Donald Trump wants to put more obstacles in path of voters. I want everybody legally entitled to vote to have that option without complications.
Liar. Amelia Sykes refuses to answer the SAVE Act question while wearing an end racism mask.
Thank you.
Wow, still masking, huh?
Congresswoman, you guys,
Yes, Queen.
Democrats are arguing that the SAVE Act suppresses voters, but how does requiring proof of citizenship disenfranchise legal female voters who need an ID?
I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Didn't sound like it. Sounded just fine to me. I'm losing my voice. Trump announces the White House ballroom is on budget and ahead of schedule. Very nice. Man, that is going to be huge. Look at that. That's fantastic. That's pretty cool. Liz Warren says the SAVE Act creates obstacles for voters. Which ones would those be? The illegal ones?
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID. When you want to say that everyone has to produce a birth certificate, including women whose married names are not on their birth certificates, that creates a real problem for me.
Well, isn't that just one of the first steps in getting married is getting a new ID?
Actually, it's not getting a new birth certificate, because part of what the SAVE Act does is it says most driver's licenses around the country won't work as an ID. And that creates a terrible problem.
But you need an ID to do just about anything in America. Shouldn't you need one to vote in elections?
You don't need a birth certificate. I hope you know that.
Thank you. The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID.
Okay, so you're saying the licenses won't do it? Okay, so come up with another one. Come up with a freaking voter ID card. Got social security cards, passports, driver's licenses. In a Medicaid card. Like, what's the big deal? I mean, it sucks to have one more card, sure, but let's be real here. This is not a hurdle. Not the one they're making it. EBT card. Joe, gots to have that EBT. Ex-FBI agent says Bondi has slam dunk conspiracy case against Obama's feds for election meddling. Okay, well, dang it. I hate when no link is like provided. Yeah, so thank you, Scott. Mr. Balcom. Great camera guys. Based. Cool dude. There's a good channel on YouTube for camera tech and stuff. He's one of the good ones. He's a good guy. He's one of us. Yep, I agree, Scott. So do it. Just do it then. Come on. Where's the
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. Do it! You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you
Come on,
waiting
Pam.
for?
Come on, Pam Bondi. Do it.
Do it!
Do it.
Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
We're all waiting.
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
What a classic. Never gets old. Oh, man. Yeah, just do it, though. Like, come on. Come on, Ms. Bondi. Go ahead, then. All right, let's see I want to see the article, though. Oh, ex-FBI agent says? Well, what does he know? What the hell would he know? X. Howard Lutnick on Epstein.
But it troubles me that you took your family to lunch on his island, that you had appointments with him. Please disclose everything. Put this to rest, because this is an issue of grave concern to my constituents. President Trump ran on releasing the Epstein files. You said casually, well, I looked at my name and how it appeared in them, as does everyone. No, everyone isn't worried about their names being in the Epstein files. I know he was your neighbor. That was a coincidence. But please disclose everything that's relevant here so that we have a chance to work together and move on.
To the best of my memory, I met him when he moved next door to me, and I met him 2 other times in 14 years, none within 6 years of that first meeting, and then a year and a half later, and none thereafter. And in the presence of my wife, and as Senator Van Hollen said, under no circumstances is there a single word that I've done anything remotely wrong in any possible regard. I did not have anything you could call a relationship, anything you could call an acquaintance. I literally met him 3 times over 14 years with widespread in between. That's all I can remember. That's all there is in the documents. I didn't look through the documents with any fear whatsoever, because I know, and my wife knows, that I have done absolutely nothing wrong in any possible regard.
Thank you for answering our questions today.
I haven't really had much of an opportunity to look through all the latest stuff there is on Lotnik. I'll have to check that out. Oh, there's more. Okay.
But it
hold on. Okay, that was the one we
troubles me.
Yeah, we just did that. Okay.
Under the Biden administration, Louisiana was tasked to spend more than $1.3 billion to do exactly what it's doing now for under $500 million. That means in Louisiana alone, the American taxpayers saved more than $800 million delivering.
Oh, so this wasn't like Epstein focused. It was just kind of general.
Better economic results, all while advancing the same performance standards that you have set. We are delivering for the state of Louisiana and all American taxpayers. Under the benefit of the bargain reforms, Louisiana reopened its bidding competition, embraced technology neutrality, and drove costs down dramatically. Under the Biden administration fiber mandate, the cost to serve a single house in Louisiana was $120,000 of fiber to connect one single house. Today, the highest cost location in the state of Louisiana is closer to $7,000, with an average cost of $4,000. And they're doing this all while achieving universal coverage. This is the difference between a program designed around waste and abuse and a program designed around value. And
CBP has spent the last year rebuilding what was an intentionally broken border. As I informed Congress in 2021 and again in 2023, the open border policies of the Biden administration all but eliminated any meaningful border along this, and it replaced it with a porous geographic line defined by record high encounters with illegal aliens, overwhelmed facilities, and a workforce that was stretched so far beyond their capabilities that hostile nations and the cartels exploited our border at will. That all changed on January 20th, 2025, under the leadership of President Trump. We have now implemented effective policies, established unified priorities and objectives across all federal departments, and empowered our workforce to do their jobs by simply enforcing the laws that already exist. We have imposed consequences for those who break our laws, the laws that this body enacted. And today, the United States, because of these efforts, enjoys the most secure border in our nation's history. But this progress did not happen by accident. It's a result of a comprehensive approach to border security. We ended catch and release, we prioritized detention and removal authorities, and we sent a clear message that illegal entry into the United States will not be tolerated. And the numbers speak for themselves. We have achieved record low illegal crossings between ports of entry. Border Patrol apprehensions along the southwest border totaled over 90,000 for the entire year. That's a number that used to represent a single month under the Biden administration. Daily encounters have dropped by 95%, averaging about 250 per day, compared to 5,000 a day during the Biden administration. Our increased enforcement also resulted in the seizure of over 617,000 pounds of illicit narcotics. That's nationwide, an 8% increase over the prior year. This included nearly 11,000 pounds of fentanyl and more than 186,000 pounds of methamphetamines. This is what having a secure border looks like.
I don't know if this is the
CBP
hearing.
has
Different hearing, I guess. USCIS, Joe Edlow. Provides an update to Congress. USCIS has made nearly 33,000 fraud referrals to law enforcement, a 138% increase over previous years. Is that because the fraud's going up or because enforcement's going up? Both. ICE Director Todd Lyons. Watch that.
Under the leadership of President Trump and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, the men and women of ICE have been empowered to do exactly what they're trained to do: arrest and remove illegal aliens and criminals from our communities. We are enhancing public safety, securing our national security, and finally restoring integrity to the immigration system that had been allowed to collapse. We have supercharged our partnerships with state and local law enforcement, empowering officers around the country through the 287G program to help ICE identify and remove criminal aliens. Those partnerships have increased more than 900% since President Trump took office, and our communities are safer for it. I am also proud of our agency's unprecedented hiring campaign that led to hiring of more than 12,000 officers and special agents in less than a year, and more than 222,000 individuals submitted applications. This expansion of a well-trained and well-vetted workforce will help further ICE's abilities to execute President's and Secretary's bold agenda. Before discussing our broader operations, I must address the situation in Minnesota and the dangers that ICE agents and officers face nationwide. While the investigations remain ongoing, I'm encouraged that some Minnesota officials are finally signaling the willingness to cooperate with ICE. But let me be clear, promises are not enough. We need action. In the wake of the unprecedented border crisis of the previous administration, ICE has stepped into the breach to enforce the law. This commitment has a cost. We are facing the deadliest operating environment in our agency's history. In fiscal year 2025, death threats against ICE personnel increased more than 8,000%. Assaults on officers have skyrocketed over 1,400%. One officer in Minnesota had his finger bitten off by a protester, egged on by elected officials characterizing our offices as Gestapo or secret police. The families of ICE personnel have been made to feel unsafe in their homes. I know this firsthand because my own family was targeted. But let me send a message to anyone who thinks they can intimidate us. You will fail. Despite these perils, our officers continue to execute their mission with unwavering resolve, and we are only getting started. ICE remains committed to the fundamental principles that those who illegally enter our country must be held accountable. Since the beginning of the second Trump administration, we have achieved historic results. From January 20th, 2025 through January 20th, 2026, ICE has conducted nearly 379,000 arrests. Among those arrests were more than 7,000 suspected gang members and over 1,400 known as suspected terrorists. The president tasked us with mass deportation, and we are fulfilling that mandate. Thanks to the resources provided by this Congress, we are ramping up detention capabilities and removal flights daily. In the last year alone, we conducted over 475,000 removals. It's a brutal reality that criminal immigration today is organized by sophisticated, ruthless, transnational criminal organizations. These include cartels and transnational gangs President Trump has rightly designated as foreign terrorist organizations. The only way to defeat them is to destroy their revenue. Within Homeland Security investigations, our special agents are delivering critical outcomes in the fight against transnational crime. We are seizing fentanyl before it kills our children and dismantling the networks that poison our communities. In FY25 alone, we seized more than 2.5 million pounds of narcotics, a 50% increase from the previous year and a critical blow to transnational organization groups everywhere. HSI criminal arrests are at the highest point in history.
Will you resign from ICE? Mr. Lyons, will you resign from ICE?
No, sir, I won't.
Why not?
Because, sir, that child that you're showing right
now. Why not? Why? Why would he do that?
Right there, the men and women of ICE took care of him when his father abandoned him and ran from law enforcement.
Time. Mr. Lyons, will you resign from ICE?
God, he's such an idiot.
Just to address your the numbers with the 14%, sir, that's 14% that are listed as violent criminal felonies. However, what's left out of that is the fact that what's left off that list.
Those 70% that don't have a traffic ticket and deported. How has that made our nation stronger?
Sir, if you look at what...
Because they don't fucking belong here. They don't contribute. They're a drag. They're freaking economic vampires.
ICE has done. More than 60% of every individual that is in ICE custody has a pending or a conviction on a criminal charge. Just to address your the numbers with the 14%, sir, that's 14% that are listed as...
Like, what kind of question even? Statement. Freaking people, man. Who was that? Korea, yeah. All rep Shri Tardanar. threatens CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott. Okay, big man.
Well, you better hope so. You better hope you get been pardoned.
You better be hoping so.
Because you will be held accountable.
You're going to be held accountable, let me tell you.
For the absolute disregard of the
Oh, really? We will hold you accountable.
law your agencies have shown over the past year. Your agencies have lost the trust of the American people, with millions taking to the streets to protect the illegal actions of your agency.
To protect them? Protect the... That's what he said, right?
Taking to the streets to protect the illegal actions of your agencies. And that's why I
real genius.
Introduce a bill in the United States Congress to abolish ICE.
Okay.
ICE must be abolished. Well, you better.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over just fine. Okay, go ahead. Enjoy. Have fun. Good luck.
A lot of Americans really, I don't
I like Eli Crane. Let's see.
think a lot of Americans really understand these sanctuary cities. Mr. Scott, Mr. Lyons, is it true that you would rather send your officers into a jail to get some of these illegal alien criminals? Is it safer for your agents and also the illegal alien criminal if your officers are able to go into a jail instead of having to go out and find them on the street? Mr. Lyons, I'll start with you.
Yes, sir, it would be. You wouldn't see the amount of law enforcement officers involved in immigration operations.
Right. How about you, Mr. Scott?
I 100% agree with the director, and more, just as importantly, it would allow me to put more agents back on the border to prevent people from getting in here in the first place.
I don't think a lot of Americans really understand these sanctuary cities. Mr. Scott, Mr. Lyons, is it true that you would rather...
Here, Bobo. Go. I know. Go. Come in. Here we go. Okay. Oh, LaMonica. Rep LaMonica. MacGyver. Yeah, that wacko.
So let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer.
X away.
Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will
agencies-
suspend. The
How many-
gentlelady will suspend.
How ridiculous.
Chairman?
A gentlelady will suspend. As I said, the issues we're debating here are important to ones that members feel deeply about.
Thank you,
While
Chairman.
vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum and debate. The witnesses are here voluntarily, and I will continue to remind members that while oversight is important, aggressively attacking those witnesses personally is inappropriate and not in keeping with the traditions of our committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking a question.
I'm just axing a question, she says. She's just axing.
You are...
What's the problem? Excuse me, sir.
Oh, you guys are always talking...
Is this because I'm black?
About religion here in the Bible.
It's because I'm black.
Bible. I mean, it's okay for me to ask a question, right?
So sick of this shit. All right, White House press briefing. Let's see. Once again with the president, he and I were reviewing newly released surveillance footage from the FBI. What was this about the Guthrie stuff?
I apologize for the delay. I was once again with the president. He and I were both reviewing the newly released surveillance footage from FBI in the Savannah Guthrie case on just this heartbreaking situation with respect to her mother. The president encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of the suspect to please call the FBI who continue to assist state and local authorities who are leading this investigation on the ground. And once again, I will reiterate that the prayers of this entire White House are with Savannah and her family at this time. And we hope this person is found soon and that her mother is brought home safely.
Some weird stuff, man. They ought to be asking more questions, though.
President Trump will be joined by Administrator Lee Zeldin to formalize the rescission of the 2009 Obama-era endangerment finding. This will be the largest deregulatory action in American history, and it will save the American people $1.3 trillion in crushing regulations. The bulk of the savings will stem from reduced costs for new vehicles, with the EPA projecting average per vehicle savings of more than $2,400 for popular light-duty cars, SUVs, and trucks. This is just one more way this administration is working to make life more affordable for everyday Americans. Overall, these groundbreaking actions from President Trump will drive larger economic growth, create thousands of good-paying jobs, expand manufacturing, increase consumer choice, and improve affordability for millions of families and businesses. President Trump will be joined by
It's just talking about Trump accounts, tax cuts.
And pundits and Democrat elected politicians. I've seen this CBS report floating around. There's a lot of liberal talking heads.
I don't know what that one's in reference to. This report.
And pundits and Democrat elected politicians who think that this single story and these statistics and the way they are painted is somehow a shot at this administration. It is not. And let me correct the record. Number one, the Trump administration has been clear from day one that any illegal alien present in this country is subject to deportation. However, the priority, of course, is going after the convicted criminals, the worst of the worst, the murderers, the pedophiles, the rapists in this country. Interestingly, in the CBS story, what the Democrat talking heads on television are not saying is this line. Nearly 60% of ICE arrestees over the past year had criminal charges or convictions. And among that population, the majority of the criminal charges or convictions are for nonviolent crimes. Oh, well, what are nonviolent crimes, you ask? This has coincided with what DHS has been saying all along, that approximately 70% of illegal aliens arrested under President Trump have pending criminal charges and or prior convictions. And these so-called nonviolent crimes, drug trafficking, distribution of child porn, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, and human smuggling, just to name a few. So just because a crime is not violent in nature doesn't mean that crime is victimless. And I can guarantee every single person who is out there on television right now pointing to these statistics that were taken out of context by CBS News would not want an illegal alien convicted of the distribution of child porn or fraud or DUI living in your community. So the Trump administration will continue our focus on deporting all illegal aliens present in our country with a focus on the worst of the worst criminals.
Indeed. Okay. Save Act. We know. They're trying to get it going. Okay, what is this about Canada?
I think the president was very clear and direct in his truth, John, but just to reiterate, the fact that Canada will control what crosses the Gordie Howe Bridge and owns the land on both sides is unacceptable to the president. It's also unacceptable that more of this bridge isn't being built with more American-made materials, even more.
Haven't heard anything about this.
More so than what President Barack Obama committed to with the Canadians at the time, at the start of the project. He also believes that the U.S. should own at least half of the bridge, have shared authority over what passes across it, and participate in the economic benefits generated by its use. This is just another example of President Trump putting America's interests first, and so he made that very clear in his call with Prime Minister Carney earlier today. It's also look, I just spoke with the president about this. It is
about what? I hate when they don't say what.
Just spoke with the president about this. It is a dinner at the White House. It's the People's House.
Oh, Governor Moore reacts to Trump excluding him from bipartisan White House dinner is because I'm black.
He's only inviting
Oh my God, he actually said it. It's not lost on me that I'm the only black governor in this country.
Republican
And shit.
governors to that, which is traditionally a bipartisan event. And he's specifically excluding you and Democratic
And you and
Governor Jared Polis from a separate dinner. You're the vice chair of the National Governors Association. Do you know why you are being...
who is Jared? Jared Polis, let's see. Well, that is definitely not a... Yeah, he's white. He's very white.
called out and excluded?
It's particularly confusing because just a few weeks ago, I led a group of Democratic and Republican governors to the White House. And we had a meeting with the White House where we signed a memorandum of understanding around energy and trying to increase energy supply and bring down energy costs. And so one thing I know is this, is that you can uninvite, you can untweet, but you can never erase. And so if I was selected by my peers, both Democratic and Republican governors, to serve as the
Yes, Trump is trying to erase your blackness, sir.
vice chair
Clearly what's going on here.
of the National Governors Association, we focus on getting things done for our people, and we're not interested in being able to go to fancy dinners with the president if he wants to exclude certain members. So
So wait, you don't want to go?
since the president had decided that I'm not going to be invited, this will not be an NGA event.
Meaning what?
You can't uninvite me. I don't even want to go.
Meaning the NGA will not support this dinner. If the president wants to have a dinner with his friends and have a black tie dinner with his friends on that night, that is perfectly fine. It will not be an NGA event.
And you have a commitment from
Tards. Yeah, okay. Keep going. Huh. For the first time in years, Democrats are sounding the alarm about money problems. Yeah. Boy, it's almost like some major part or source of their funding just suddenly completely disappeared. I wonder what that could have been. USAID? Yeah. Boy, I mean, I don't know if anyone has forgotten this, but they used to be flush, baby, like every single election season, every round, just bursting with cash, overflowing from the brim with cash. They just had so much they didn't even know what to do with it. A lot of the time, Obama, like, this is ridiculous. How does this happen? Unless, of course, USAID. USAID money, man. Donald Trump has 99 problems going into the midterms, but money ain't one. Them, on the other hand, ooh, they're hurting. Manic Tim Walz claims he's the only one who actually cares about prosecuting fraud in Minnesota.
They don't even have any people working at these agencies, so they request the data and they don't go anywhere. The people who are the attorneys that should actually be prosecuting on ICE cases, the lead prosecutor quit yesterday.
Well, I mean, speaking of Democrat money sources, not just USAID, I bet you this one too.
Fraud is a long forgotten thing
Oh.
for everybody except me. And
Is that because you were the main source of funding for the DNC, my friend?
And people in Minnesota who know we need to prosecute it and do what's right, the federal government lost all their prosecutors. The federal government sent us no one who's an expert in fraud prevention or fraud discovery or fraud prosecution. They sent untrained people on the streets to push people down or to try and follow teachers home. They don't even have any people working at these agencies.
Wow. This dude. All right, what next? Who dis? Oh, Scalise. Okay. Just talking Save Act stuff real quick.
Leader Scalise, are you hearing anything
Why
from the
not?
Senate about eliminating the zombie filibuster so we can actually get the SAVE Act passed?
They know that there's a
I'm
lot
hearing this shit for months now.
of pressure to get some of these bills
Wake me up when they do it.
moved, like the Save America Act. There's a lot of other acts, the bills that are over in the Senate, collecting dust right now that are really good for the country, really important to American families. And so, we're going to keep the pressure on and keep sending really good bills over to the Senate. And it's time for them to take some.
This is a fascinating one here. Epstein jail guards used fake body to trick the media, Files claim. Yeah. Yeah, those photos, one of them seen here of a body getting loaded into a vehicle, were not him. There's apparently a stack of like books and stuff. Files. Wonder which files. What? All right, let's see. A little bit of this. Okay, jail guards overseeing Epstein used a decoy body to mislead reporters gathered outside the prison after his death. This just makes you wonder, doesn't it? While his real corpse was secretly removed in a separate vehicle, a black SUV. Or some manner of black vehicle. They don't specify SUV. Sorry, I made that up. That left the facility unnoticed, allowing officers to transport the corpse privately. Now, I don't know. Maybe it was a corpse. Maybe he did die. I don't even know. I have no clue. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? No one does. And we should. We should know. But we don't. Thanks to, well, bullshit like this and countless other incidents like it. Question mark after question mark after question mark. The convenient lack of footage from certain locations in the jailhouse. Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. So does everyone remember those photos that made the rounds? With him, like, being wheeled into the hospital? How does that play into everything? Is that must be the real corpse that was transported by the SUV? Come on, where's that shit at? Where's that shit at? This one. Yeah. There you go. Personally, this does look like him to me. I don't buy all the Bourdain stuff. That's just me. This does look like him. But I can't tell whether he's dead or not. He could perfectly well be alive in this picture. Again, assuming it is even him. How are we ever going to know now? Ridiculous. All right, Ilhan getting hit with some questions. Okay. Nicholas Balassi questioning her.
Congressman, do you have a response to President Trump saying that you're profiting off of the fraud situation or the fraud investigation that's going on in Minnesota? He's been saying that repeatedly. I wonder if you have a response to it.
I told you to stop believing what that man says, man.
Well,
I don't know why you keep asking me what that man says. Nothing he says is true. That's never been true.
Well, he's president.
I mean, again, just because you're president doesn't mean you're a truthful person. That man is a liar and delusional, and obviously needs to get some help. His obsession with me is way too much.
Has DOJ contacted you at all?
Absolutely not. You know this. You talk to them. Like,
No. I was just wondering if you were contacted because he's saying DOJ is going to investigate you. Trump is.
Oh. Yeah, I'm.
Congressman, do you have a response?
I'd be a bit worried if I was her, personally. Anna Polina Luna confirms the use of code words in Epstein emails like jerky. Has seen the unredacted files describing specific ages, 11-year-olds, and permission to kill. Hold on, what? Reveals they were sent by women who were alleged victims? What? I haven't seen these. Sorry, I know I'm like way out of the loop because I only finally just got this back today. Haven't even gotten it set up yet. I'll search that up here in a minute. Let's listen to this.
There are a lot of viral mentions about the 11-year-old, 10-year-old people sending these photos to Jeffrey Epstein. Did you uncover who sent those photos of those children?
I looked directly at the emails that have been widely circulated pertaining to the age 11, and I have it written down on my notes, the permission to kill email, the Snow White, the littlest girl was naughty, etc. And those ones were directly sent by alleged victims.
So the most disturbing and darkest and sickest emails were sent by women to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and some of them pertaining to, jerky, whatever that is. Yeah.
And so, and so, just quick follow. What is jerky? Like, what is that exactly?
I think that's the question. I don't know if it's like, and again, like going into specifically just based on what this is, I don't know.
It's a code
the
word.
Context is
it has to be a code word. Nobody
it's
talks about
word
jerky
and
like
it's
this.
Weird. Yeah, it's a code word and it's weird.
That is really strange. We'll see what we can find on this.
But either which way,
We have beef jerky in the studio, okay? So, like, Klein and I know, I've never spoken to my team or anything. There's no correspondence to me talking about jerky this obsessively. There's hundreds of emails about jerky.
It's a code
specific,
word, and some of those emails were sent by women, and
weird.
And women that specifically claim to be victims.
So you're saying that these
That's interesting.
Victims are being groomed into
there's
or they're portraying themselves as victims as cover to explain their presence, okay, and get out of any potential trouble. Sympathy plays.
Traffickers themselves.
There's evidence of that. Yes, I'm not saying all of it.
So they're not actually victims. They're not actually victims, or
there's already ample evidence of that, like Virginia, for one. Sarah Ransom, for two.
I think that there are some.
Ransom is one who has made some of the most outlandish, ridiculous claims, and then later about-faced and just literally said she made it up. That's who immediately comes to mind for me. Virginia and Ms. Ransom.
Playing actual victims, but I also think that at a certain point, if you, depending on the severity of what you're doing, I think that there's a gray area and then you become a co-conspirator.
I forget who it was that said this, but there is definitely, from what I recall, testimony out there from some of the lesser known victims, stating basically exactly that Virginia was actually taking part in the abuse. Like she was recruiting, she was like an active participant. One of the crims. Makes you wonder about that, the circumstances of her death. Not to mention the money she got, the payoff? Payoff? Anyone? Payoff? All right, I want to look into that real quick. Epstein and Jerky. And then the, what was it? Permission to Kill? Yeah, Permission to Kill. We'll check that out.
Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that?
I mean, the obvious take is meat. Like it's meat. It's like human, like people they treat as slabs of meat, like prostitutes.
Delicious lunch.
Potentially underage.
Beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they
This is insane.
eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't remember checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice.
Okay, now that's getting even weirder, like potential like flesh territory, That's just weird. You don't need ice for jerky, like actual jerky. It's dried, salted, cured meat. You don't put jerky on ice.
One should do. There is,
unless of course it's not jerky.
One bag of beef jerky in the fridge.
Maybe human meat, little maybe some organ meat, a little Hannibal Lecter type action.
Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would...
Who is this? Francis Derby. Okay. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. Epstein said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. That said, he has 6 bags of it in the downstairs freezer for his next trip. Believe it should be enough to get him through. Wonder who this was sent to. And who's Francis Derby? Francis G. What? What? This person worked at a restaurant called The Cannibal. Helmed the kitchen through 2 New York City restaurants. I don't know if one of them is The Cannibal or what. 5 years at the helm of The Cannibal, turning the brand into a destination for all things meat. Dude. Weird. Weird. Okay. Okay. He dead? Is this him or? No, it's got to be a different one. Yeah, taxi driver. Yeah, definitely a different one. Apparently still a chef. I don't know. Maybe rich people just really like jerky. Yeah, that's got to be it.
Would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. That's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky.
Okay, hold on. Make a batch before I leave for LSJ. Some of that will to Little St. James. Some of that will then go to Steve. This is from Epstein. To who knows? Some of that will go to Steve and the rest to you at Little St. James when I arrive. Weird, man.
Means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called
Oh, well, nice. He gets into it. That's good. Hey, boy, Asmongold.
Nice. The restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak. Can blank make some jerky? I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water if possible. If the main house is not enough, are there...
After so-and-so leaves, BMG from Epstein regarding ZDC. No idea. After so-and-so leaves, can such and such make some jerky? I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water. The water, one word. The misspellings are another weird one I've gathered. There's some weird stuff with the way Epstein would so consistently misspell certain words or forget certain punctuation in certain instances. Like, there's something going on there too. All around, there's one. All around the house to use the water if possible. Lodge and ranch central if needed. If main house is not enough.
If possible, if the main house is not enough, are there any recorded images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky at all? No, there are no recorded or publicly known images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky.
That's hilarious.
Who sent?
That's funny. You can see why he's grown so big. He's a likable guy. Platform is he stream on mostly? YouTube. All right, let's see. What was the other one? Permission to kill. The sender of this email giving Jeffrey Epstein permission to kill him appears to be Susan Hamblin, a financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency Kids to Families. Hamblin. Why does that name ring a bell? Wish I could remember. Oh. I remember. Utah. David Hamblin. It's his wife. I don't think it was Susan. I think it was a different. It can't be a relation. There's no way. Who is this Susan Hamblin? Kids to families. Okay. Financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency. And let's just go AI. All right. Let's see what we get here. Weird. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Appears to be a ghost entity. It appears to be restricting itself to my area specifically right now. We'll do Grok next. Kids to family. Okay, appears to be a fingerprint for a specific identity conflict involving the Epstein documents. Google gonna say on this. The Tale of Two Susans, okay. Two individuals with the same name. Susan Hamlin, number 1, some interior designer. Court ruled she had no connection to Epstein and that allegations made against her were entirely false. Susan Hamlin, number 2. Name appears in leaked Epstein emails. 2014 email giving permission to kill an unknown individual. Okay, Grok, come on. Washington State Financial Advisor appears to be the one. Okay, longtime financial advisor. Worked at Piper Jaffray, Wells Fargo Advisors, LPL Financial, Financial Advocates Investment Management. So what, I mean, the immediate question is, what the fuck was she doing at running an adoption agency? Clearly a successful woman in her professional life. So what was the deal with that? Married a Paul Matthews Lawrence, 1985. Paul passed away late 2013, early 2014. Worked in marketing at Boeing, Microsoft, founded PML Consulting. Raised 4 children in the Seattle area. Megan Brooke Lawrence, Emily Ann Lawrence, Jacob David Lawrence. Okay. Of course, I don't see anything that confirms 100% that that's the person in the email. Weird. Seems like it's kind of a mystery for now. Creepy. Gave Epstein permission to kill somebody who lied to him. I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with blank. He lied to you and he lied to me. No one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one. Whoops is correct, Epstein responds. It definitely does not sound like a joke to me at all. Or anything of the sort. All right, let's keep going. Lost our spot here. Shite. Hate when that happens. Okay. Here we are. Jim Jordan will grill Hillary Clinton about her funding of the Steele dossier. Well, heard that one before, Jim. Let's hear it, though.
National championships, the big arena is set for Bill Clinton, and you're on oversight. Pam Bondi also testifying tomorrow. Members of Congress are able to go in and see unredacted Epstein documents. And so I guess I want, you've been at this for a while, Mr. Chairman. So, what has been revealed to you in these documents and the release of these documents? What have you found curious?
I think the biggest takeaway is, no matter what the Democrats do, there's never been anything bad about President Trump, which you and I knew all along. Yes. Because if there was, you don't think the Garland, Biden, Harris Justice Department would have went after President Trump? I mean, they weaponized the Justice Department against conservatives and against the president. So I think, Ms. Maxwell testified again and took the fifth most of the time, but she said for the second time, at least through her counsel, that President Trump didn't do anything wrong. So sort of what we knew all the way. I think that to me is a big takeaway. And then we'll just see how this all shakes out as we move forward. Frankly, I would like to ask Secretary Clinton about when the whole weaponization effort against the president began, because we all know it started with the dossier, which was paid for by the Clinton campaign. And this dossier was a completely false, ridiculous document. So I don't know if we can get that in. Her lawyers will probably push back. But if we do, in fact, get to this deposition in a few weeks, I would like to go there.
Something that I've been wanting to ask. What are you going to ask Hillary Clinton? So you're going to talk about paying for Russian disinformation to smear and undermine President Trump.
That's when it all began. This is why it's so important, because that whole thing, the dossier paid for by the Clinton campaign through the law firm Perkins Coie, through Fusion GPS, the public relations firm, to a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who wrote this lying garbage document that our FBI under James Comey used to go after the other party's presidential candidate and spy on the campaign. That all happened, and it was based on nothing but just political go after your opponent. That's not supposed to be the way it works in our great country, but it did. And then that leads to Mueller, which leads to impeachment, which leads to, Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, Jack Smith, Radius Holm, all the crazy things that took place. But it began there 10 years ago. So I think that's appropriate, but we'll see if they come. We'll see if we can get into that. But that's some of the things that's on my mind.
So what questions about Epstein would you have for Hillary Clinton?
I'll leave that mostly to my colleagues who've been digging into this. I'll leave that to Chairman Comer. I mean, there's plenty of things you just had on Brandon. By the way, is Brandon Gill a great new member? He's on our committee on judiciary, does an outstanding job. And he talked about the number of times that the president,
Mr. Gill is quite good.
President Clinton traveled with Mr. Epstein, the number of times they were together at the White House. I think all those things will be dug into.
Senator Collins, you swore you'd only serve 2 terms. Now you're running for your sixth Senate term. Dear God.
It's law, constitution. I have pledged that if I'm elected, I will only serve 2 terms, regardless of whether term limits law, a constitutional amendment passes or not.
Oh, well, so much for that.
12 years is long enough to be in public service, make a contribution, and then come home and let someone else take your place. I have.
Wow. Mike Johnson and John Thune expected to meet later today, discussing the CR, DHS CR.
Beyond the horizon, a predator emerges. Silent, observant, lethal.
Ooh.
An apex hunter of its domain. It occupies space normally denied by nature, holding still like lightning trapped between cloud and earth, waiting to be released. Its senses are extraordinary, perceiving in every direction at once. Sight, sound, heat, and movement merge into a single instinct. When the moment comes, it does not announce itself. The prey never hears the wings. By the time danger is understood,
nice.
The hunt is already over.
Department of War. Cartel property seized. 134 acres near Rio Grande City, Texas, used by drug cartel for smuggling, now out of their hands. TNX.
They were wrong.
Stop. Drop. Man, haven't heard that in a minute. Reporting affidavit for the warrant to search Fulton County election records has been unsealed. Oh. Okay. Two affidavits filed by the same agent. One, Hugh Raymond Evans, special agent with the FBI, being duly sworn. Come here. I'm an FBI agent, special agent, assigned to Atlanta Field Office, Public Corruption Squad. Need extensive training, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. Facts set forth in this affidavit are based on my personal observations and knowledge. Oh, okay, so there's nothing of actual detail there. We get subsequent pages, please. Come on. Here we go. Probable cause. Following the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election, there are many allegations of electoral impropriety. How can I, you know what? Let me download this freaking thing. Yeah, download. Thank you. Oh. There we There we go. Okay. New chat. All right. Get some main points out of that. Missing ballot images. Okay. Unsealed affidavit filed early 2026 details federal criminal investigation into potential violations of election laws during the 2020 general election in Fulton County. Search warrant targeted Fulton County election hub to seize physical ballots, tabulator tapes, and ballot images. Triggered by referral from Kurt Olson, a presidentially appointed official. Affidavit outlines several deficiencies or defects that federal agents believe may constitute evidence of criminal activity if they were intentional. Missing ballot images. Fulton County admitted it lacks scanned images for all of the roughly 528,000 ballots from the original count and recount. One witness alleged that over 17,000 images were missing from the recount data itself. Wow. Duplicate scanning. Evidence suggests that some ballots were scanned multiple times during the recount. One data analyst, witness 5, concluded that duplicate ballots were added to make recount numbers match the original totals. Wow. Pristine ballots. Multiple witnesses reported seeing absentee ballots that appeared pristine, meaning they had no creases or folds, which of course makes absolutely no sense because they had to be folded in order to be mailed. So if they weren't mailed, where the fuck did they come from? Yeah, fraudulent. Tabulator tape discrepancies, last up. An expert, Clay Parikh, claimed that some tabulator tapes were missing, unsigned, or showed signs of data manipulation, such as identical protective counter numbers on different machines. That doesn't sound good. So, mentions a good number of witnesses. Apparently 9 different witnesses, at least. Mentions a Seven Hills Strategies, an independent monitor that described Fulton's 2020 absentee process as extremely sloppy with significant chain of custody issues. Legal basis, FBI cited probable cause for violations of 2 specific sections of Title 52 of the U.S. Code. Section 2701, failure to retain and preserve election records for the required 22-month period, a misdemeanor, and then Section 20511, knowingly depriving residents of a fair election process by tabulating false or fraudulent ballots, a felony. Ooh. The affidavit acknowledges that previous reviews by the Performance Review Board found no evidence of fraud or intentional misconduct, but rather persistent disorganization. Gee, I wonder what that could be. However, the FBI argues that if these specific deficiencies were intentional, they would still constitute federal crimes. Okay, well, there we go. Trump admin names 33 new immigration judges, most with military backgrounds. Oh, interesting. Feds save migrant child from sex offender as Trump cleans up Biden trafficking crisis. Who's this guy? Okay. Lone child emerged from the brush, veiling herself to border agents. Told the agent she was heading to Ugaik, Alaska to live with her sponsor, Douglas Price, who was later determined to be a 44-year-old registered sex offender. Wow. Wonder how common that is. Price allegedly funneled $5,000 from his business to pay migrant smugglers to bring the child and his mother Oh, his mother across the border. But I thought it was a girl. So confused. The child who was separated from her mother, now back to her, before crossing, was rescued before she ended up in the hands of a criminal, thanks to the Trump admin's crackdown of sponsors of unaccompanied alien children. I don't know. Man allegedly paid smugglers to bring an illegal alien child and his mother to this country, and in doing so, the child ended up alone during the dangerous journey. Jesus. Okay, what's this?
Again, something that's come up over the last several days, again, regarding a separate topic, the Epstein files. According to newly released files, the president had a conversation with the Palm Beach police chief in the early 2000s, according to the police chief in 2019. The president has gone on record before, and he's told reporters that he said that that he had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. During this conversation with the police chief, however, he did say, according to this recounting of it, that thank goodness you're stopping him. He also called Ghislaine Maxwell evil. So my two questions are, did that conversation with the Palm Beach police chief happen? And can you explain the discrepancy?
Of course it did. Like, what?
What I will say is that the president has always remained consistent and that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club at Mar-a-Lago because, frankly, Jeffrey Epstein was a creep. And unlike many other people who are named in these files, President Trump cut off his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and was honest and transparent about that for years and years. And so I think what the president has said all along has always remained true. And the release of more than 3 million documents related to Jeffrey Epstein and his heinous, disgusting crimes just shows the level of transparency that this president and administration has committed to in bringing these files to light.
But did he call the chief in 2006? Caroline, did he call the chief?
Look, it was a phone call that may or may not have happened in 2006. I don't know the answer to that question. What I'm telling you is that what President Trump has always said is that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep, and that remains true. And this call, if it did happen, corroborates exactly what President Trump has said from the beginning. And I'm sure many of you, when you read that alleged FBI report, probably thought to yourself, wow, this really cracks our narrative that we've been trying to push.
Okay. Excuse me. President and First Lady will travel to Fort Bragg on Friday to meet with those who carried out Operation Absolute Resolve in Venezuela. All right. Ed Martin spotted leaving the executive office building at the White House today. Unclear who he met with there. I wonder. Again and again and again, we now learn that the Somalis have registered 60 healthcare companies in just one dilapidated warehouse building. This is in Maine or Minnesota?
This building right behind me
Minnesota.
has 22 different home and community-based healthcare companies registered in the building. It's only 4 floors. I walked in there yesterday trying to find a number of them. Many of them are they appear to be just window fronts, door fronts, with nobody behind. So same story, different location. We're here in St. Paul at this building, which looks like a warehouse or a dilapidated old building. Inside this building, there are 60 registered home and community health care organizations inside this one building. We're here in Northeast Minneapolis, and we're at a building that I believe is on the radar of authorities. They have questions about it. A lot of the businesses in here are home health care businesses. Of the total businesses, there's 37. 17 of them are home health care businesses.
Good God.
Service. When the news broke about the level of child care service fraud by Somali nationals in Minnesota, the American people were rightly shocked and outraged. The loss to the federal government, meaning the loss to American taxpayers, is estimated to be at $9 billion or more. That estimate only covers what the U.S. government has discovered in one state, the state of Minnesota. There There are also credible allegations that the Minnesota government knew about the fraud as early as 2011, and that Governor Walz and Mayor Frey not only were aware of the fraud as early as 2018 or 2019, but did nothing to stop it.
Wow. Shocker. Almost like they were benefiting from it. Brandon Gill wants to explain here why he wants to ban Somali immigration for 25 years. Well, how about forever? I'd be good with that too.
So, yeah, it does beg the question, like, who decided to do this after all? If you look at Somalia as a nation,
They are like
you'll see,
the worst people. I mean,
of course, a failed state, a tribal state, a Sharia law state, a state with very high coefficients for inbreeding. That's just a matter of fact. It's not racist. It's from the UN. And this, of course,
they're just degenerate.
Of course, leads to very
in every sense of the word
bad outcomes when it comes to IQ and health. These are, I mean, this is just a cult. This is their culture, right? It also leads, of course, to a culture of piracy, theft, and total collapse. Their own government, of course, is a thief of U.S. aid. And so everything from child brides to sectarian violence, why would you bring that into your country if Somalia was a state?
Sectarian violence? No idea.
In America, would you ever want to visit it? Like, right? Like, you know, I love using that rule. It's like, if you took the country and you broke it off, just the people and the landmass, and you attached it to America, would you ever want to visit? Well, if it was Switzerland, yeah, sure. But Somalia, no, nobody would ever want to visit.
So that's the perfect way to lay this out, I think, because I think that there's this idea that we've had for a long time, which is that whenever somebody comes into the United States, they sort of check their their prejudices at the door, that they immediately become American. And that's what we hope to happen. We hope for immigrants to assimilate into American culture, to adopt our way of life, to adopt our culture, all the things that make America the envy of the world. But whenever you have an enormous amount of people coming into the country, millions from all over the globe, including societies like Somalia, and are coming into the United States and are forming little enclaves, like what you see in Minneapolis, that are almost like parallel societies within America, very little assimilation is actually happening. And you can measure that here. Another question that I asked was, are Somali immigrants in Minnesota learning English?
No.
And what we found is that only about half of Somali immigrants in Minnesota, even after being in the United States for 10 years, speak English very well. And I think that's a good proxy for cultural assimilation. If you can't communicate with the country that you live in, with the people that you live in, then you're probably not assimilating very well at all. I think that's something, again, most people would agree with.
I have this article right here. I'd love for you to talk through your proposed legislation for a 25-year moratorium.
Yep. So what I introduced was this bill last week, and it's simple. It's just saying that Somali immigration does not benefit the American people. They're coming in, they're getting on welfare at astoundingly high rates. They're not assimilating, not learning our language. And we've also found, and there have been studies that City Journal has done incredibly well, that crime rates for Somali men in the United States are far higher than incarceration rates for Native American citizens. That's a problem. So I think, again, it goes back to, does Somali immigration benefit the American people? The answer is clearly no. Again, that's not a racial comment. That's not there's nothing bigoted to say that. It's just a simple fact. And we ought to recognize that. We ought to say very clearly that if it's not benefiting the American people, why do we allow it? By almost every measure, it's harming the American people. And I think that a 25-year moratorium on Somali immigration makes perfect sense. If anything, 25 years is too short of a time frame. I think it's a bit of a moderate solution here that we propose. But
absolutely too short. Could be forever. Two men just admitted to millions of dollars in Minnesota fraud, stealing $3.5 million worth of tax money from Minnesota's public housing program. They traveled specifically from Pennsylvania to Minnesota to commit the crime because they knew it would be easy.
To commit this fraud, they pleaded guilty in court today of scamming Medicaid beneficiaries, get this, at homeless shelters and Section 8 housing. And what's most notable about this case, Harris, according to the DOJ, this represents the first charges involving the use of artificial intelligence to further a fraud scheme targeting healthcare programs in Minnesota, with the two fraudsters we talked about concealing the scheme by using AI, including ChatGPT, to create fake records when questioned by insurance companies.
Wow.
Exclusive to Fox this morning, Attorney General
Way to go, ChatGPT. Really helping the people.
Pam Bondi releasing the statement saying criminal fraud not only robs taxpayers, it shatters trust in our institutions. Under President Trump's leadership, today's convictions are just the beginning. Our prosecutors will work tirelessly to unravel criminal fraud schemes and charge their perpetrators in Minnesota and across the country. All this.
What's Blanche doing here? Oh, talking to Massey, responding to Massey. As he says, this is a well-known retired CEO. DOJ should unredact this. Why did they redact this? So one of the co-conspirators, I guess. Ohio retired CEO. Yeah, it's Les Wexner. Blanche responds, the document you cite has numerous victim names. We have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the files thousands of times. DOJ is hiding nothing. A community note saying the cited document is an FBI email thread from 2019 discussing 10 potential co-conspirators in Epstein's case and contains no victim names. So, Blanche not being accurate? Yeah, he claims it has numerous victim names. It apparently does not. Brown and Morello. Unsealed affidavit from Fulton County raid has been released. We just looked through it all. Colombian President Gustavo Petro says he survived an assassination attempt, apparently. Allegedly. Senate GOP grilling Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile for handing over phone records to Jack Smith. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Trump sat down for an interview today. Larry Kudlow.
The word out. That's why I love doing. You know, we have a fake news that doesn't get the word out. That's why I love doing an interview. We get the word out. Mm-hmm. But so you ask a question. In 50 years, a president that's won, even a popular president, somebody that's done well. I'm popular and I've done well. I mean, I think we have the greatest economy actually ever in history. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. That's said by everybody. We have the hottest country in the world. I guess I have to sell that because we should win in a landslide, and we'll do everything we can to do it.
Definitely got a lot to do this year. No doubt about that. All right, well, we are at the top of the hour. I will call it quits there. The dudes are in here. Sketch and Toots. What's poppin', dudes? How you doing?
Going on, brother man? How you doing?
It's going pretty good. What's up?
Great show, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
And I love the new setup you got here. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I got room to kind of.
I love it.
Move around. It's really cool. I like it.
Unbelievable.
A lot more open.
That's great. And Sketch is obviously our newest, the newest host here. At
Indeed,
PSP.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
Sketch
you.
is a dear friend of mine.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
grateful to you for bringing him in. Thank you.
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, he's right up. He's a Q guy. Me and Sketch used to talk all the time.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Like me a lot on the Q as well. So what's up, Sketch? What do we got for today?
Yeah, I'm gonna pop out of here. Let you guys get to it.
All right, brothers. Good to see you.
Yeah, have a good show. See ya.
Thanks,
you.
bro.
Thank you.
Great show.
All right, YouTube. That's it for me. No mas. I will be back. Today's Tuesday? Yeah, so tomorrow evening. All right. See you then. Bye-bye. Have a good night.